Before I dive into why I have many issues with the remake, I wanted to highlight why this game is so good. The original Last of Us was the perfect swan song to the PS3. After 3 great Uncharted games, Naughty Dog provided a completely new IP that pushed what the PS3 could do. From a story standpoint, the journey of Joel and Ellie is a memorable one, full of satisfying moments of build-up and proper payoff. Joel is a damaged man who we root for as he finds a new reason to fight and live on through Ellie. I always felt like this should have been a one and done type of story, as the ending provides both appropriate amount of closure and allows it to be left open to the player's interpretation. Any type of continuation of Joel and Ellie's narrative weakens the ending to this game. Now, as a side note, I think more Last of Us games could have been made, but as other stories with new characters in this world. It is a rich landscape and has plenty of room for new characters and narratives outside of Joel and Ellie. But now Naughty Dog is remaking the first game for the PS5, and I have several problems with this. Like them charging full price with no upgrade path for current owners of prior versions, along with not including the multiplayer. So join me as we discuss why The Last of Us Remake is unneeded. First, let's lay out the additions that Naughty Dog is adding into the game. Here are some of the new additions and features. More detail and cutscenes to capture a presentation closer to the actual performances. High level of detail in both cutscenes and in-game. To have seamless transitions between gameplay and cutscene. High level of detail and physics for gameplay. Improved enemy and allied AI. New motion capture for improved in-game movement and transitions. Revamped art direction, new modes like permadeath and speedrunning, unlockable outfits, a model viewer, new workbench animations, and making use of 3D audio and adaptive triggers. So those are most of the new additions being added into the remake. Honestly, on the surface, many of these features sound pretty good as Naughty Dog is trying to make use of the PS5 tech. But I have some concerns with how they're going about it. For one, they are charging full price for a remake that is not even including the multiplayer from the original either. On the PS4, The Last of Us was re-released with all of its multiplayer DLC, expansions, and running at an improved performance over the PS3 for full price. I bought this when it came out to play the game at 60 FPS, and while the full price did seem a bit much for a game that was only really 1 year old, it did pack in all the additional content as part of it, almost like a Game of the Year edition. So Naughty Dog already released The Last of Us 1 in a short period of time on 2 PlayStation systems at full price, and while the remake is receiving upgrades, especially for the visuals, it feels like they are trying to triple dip for their game. This feels like the ugly side of greed. Where greed can push for innovation and creativity, this instead feels like how much can we squeeze from our consumer base. I have no idea if this was the intent, but it certainly feels like this is the case. Something that makes both Naughty Dog and Sony look bad is the lack of an upgrade path. Many prior generation titles or even cross-gen titles offer a means to upgrade to the next generation. Now you have the best examples where if you buy, say, Guardians of the Galaxy or Immortals on the PS4, you get the PS5 version for free as a digital download. For some of Sony's exclusives like Ghost of Tsushima and Uncharted 4, there is a small fee that an existing owner of the game on the PS4 can pay to upgrade to the PS5 and use those enhanced features. While I think companies should take the free upgrade approach, I can stomach a small fee for the upgrade. But with The Last of Us Remake, there is no option for an upgrade path. If you already own it on the PS4, you cannot upgrade to the PS5. You need to pay the full price. This is very anti-consumer and feels like the developer and publisher trying to take advantage of their fan base. I understand that additions and enhancements cost time and money from the development team, but if their costs balloon to needing to charge $70 for what is essentially a high-end visual upgrade to a game that arguably didn't need a visual upgrade to begin with, and then I would question the marketing decisions at both Sony and Naughty Dog for greenlighting this project. When discussing the original Last of Us, most players point to the story, characters, and intense gameplay as to what they love about it. But an underrated aspect to the game was the competitive multiplayer. The original didn't need multiplayer, but it turned out to be an awesome surprise. I was awful at it, but I really enjoyed playing it. Instead of being the usual deathmatch type stuff, it was more focused on slower, more tactical gameplay, as there was a lot of quiet time with constant tension with explosions of action. And sadly, this area of the game is completely removed from the remake. As far as I can tell, the multiplayer is not included, which again hurts the justification for the full price of the remake, since Naughty Dog is removing features that were in the original and the remaster. I think part of this is that they are currently working on a multiplayer Last of Us game for the PS5, and they do not want to include multiplayer in the Last of Us remake, since players may not buy the new multiplayer game, or only play the remake, and either way this would split the player base. Logically, this makes sense based on the projects, but this doesn't make any sense to essentially charge more than the original but not include the multiplayer mode. Now, I originally thought Naughty Dog was going to use this remake as a way to change aspects about the original to line up better for Part 2. This way they could rewrite Part 1 in spots to make the story more consistent, because as someone who loves the original but hates Part 2, there's a lot of character inconsistencies in that game that doesn't make any sense. But as of right now, it doesn't seem that way, and we'll probably know better once we can play it. Something else I wanted to make note of too is how some people are defending the remake, saying that this isn't the first time we saw a graphical overhaul of an older game, and that full price could be justified. I would agree that this isn't the first time, but while there is a jump in tech, say from the PS3 to 5 or even the PS4 to the 5, it doesn't look like the same type of jump like from other remakes that we've had. Take Resident Evil 1 and compare the PS1 release to the remake on the GameCube. The console generational jump felt really big at the time. When it comes to this type of stuff, it really comes down to the individual, because maybe you want to pay full price for the remake's upgrades. Others may want to play it, but then wait for it to be on sale. And others like myself will probably just stick with the PS4 copy. So far it looks like the Last of Us remake is unneeded and does not justify the full price on it. I say this is unneeded because the PS4 version still looks good and plays great. I have a few other issues related to this remake too. For one, the new art direction and visuals. They do look more detailed, but in some cases they make the characters look worse than they were in the original. Like with Tess, I prefer her original design. Also, the remake brings up another question of erasing all of the work and talent that was put into the original. That is now being erased for this remake, as this will probably be the version that is pushed out front and center for The Last of Us 1. Naughty Dog really nailed their games on the PS3. Uncharted 1 was an awesome surprise with lovable characters, great writing, and memorable action. 2 improved on 1 in every way, along with adding on fun multiplayer and co-op modes. At this time, the studio split into 2 teams. Half of Naughty Dog worked on Uncharted 3, and the other worked on The Last of Us. 3 was about as good as 2, especially considering it was only made by half of the studio, and Last of Us was a brand new IP that was something very new for the studio. I, like many other players, love this first game. The gameplay allows for a lot of variability with how you need to use your limited resources to not only take out your current threats, but you need to try to be prepared for the ones you'll face after. The mix of action and stealth was really intense and engaging. Story-wise, it was a memorable tale with a tight cast of characters. I often revisit Naughty Dog's PS3 releases and enjoy each one, so all my remarks about criticizing this remake comes from a place of love. Something else I wanted to comment on was that this remake took time and money that could have been spent on a brand new IP, something that really scratches the creative drive to potentially create the next great thing. But instead it was used on a remake for a game that wasn't in need of an upgrade. I know Naughty Dog has had a lot of turnover and new talent come in, and I hope that they still have the talent and execution that they are known for, and hopefully they can work on something completely new. Let me know your thoughts on the remake below. Would you like me to even cover the remake at some point? If you're interested in being notified of new videos, please hit the subscribe button and bell, and if you'd like to support the channel and get early access to content, please check out my Patreon. All of the links will be at the end of this video and within the description, and thank you very much for watching.